Viewers, I usually don't do a video back-to-back like this right in the morning, but we just got done with our HIIT workout. I look wrecked, but I wanted to bring this news to you guys. So I was going through my media clips, going through all my research, and I watched this video from CoinDesk. So I'm going to share with you a part of it, and I want you to listen to the verbiage and the things that are said. Now let's take a trip back. Will the new head of the SEC, Gary Gensler, just released the Ripple case? That is a possibility, Warriors. I'm not a financial advisor. It's not financial advice, but I wanted to bring this to you guys, and I like to narrate these things. And I basically take you inside my brain and how I pick up certain things that are said within these interviews. And so this is a really, really important interview that CoinDesk did, and then Gary Gensler got nominated to the SEC. Remember, let's go back really quickly. MIT, 1996, was creating cryptography protocols in 1996, okay? Bitcoin came out in 2009. Since Bitcoin's inception, we have printed more money than in history. During the pandemic, we have printed more money during the pandemic than we have in recent history, okay? So more money's been printed. Your governments, your banks are moving into a new quantum financial system, okay? They are moving people behind the scenes. Brian Brooks, head of the OCC, left just recently. Okay, he was the top lawyer at Coinbase, became head of the OCC for a short amount of time. Before he left, he federally chartered a cryptocurrency bank. Okay, Jay Clayton leaves the SEC. Right before he leaves, he throws out a Ripple lawsuit when Ripple had been meeting with the SEC every single month since their inception. And then they bring in a crypto-friendly Gary Gensler, who is a professor at MIT for blockchain and cryptocurrency, and often is seen talking about crypto regulation in the marketplace, Warriors. Are you getting the narrative here, Warriors? Things are happening behind the scenes fast and furious. So we're going to listen to this video, and I'll narrate it as I see, as my brain works in regards to understanding banking and regulations. And so we're going to watch this video. It's really important. It's kind of jumbled, so I'll do the best I can to make it as loud as I can. But this is important. These are things that could happen within the next couple months. Gary Gensler could drop the Ripple case. Let's just hear what they have to say.
Now we have a new administration, and I think generally the previous administration was seen as relatively friendly to the cryptocurrency industry. What are you looking at for this new administration as far as crypto regulation is concerned? And I guess, what are the most important regulations that the cryptocurrency industry should be paying attention to? Like, what are the regulations that could really have the biggest impact?
Well, I think what some of the real steps forward in the past administration were at the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, where Bitcoin futures were sanctioned and allowed to go forward. First with the marketplace, and then of course the CFTC was there, standing there at that birth. So that was good. That was a huge step forward to make it so that institutions could more easily play in the area. And then Brian Brooks, who was the acting controller of the currency, he put forward some really important new steps for national banks to be able to act as custodians with respect to these digital assets like Bitcoin.
Okay, so let's stop for just a moment. Remember, your friends and family are telling you cryptocurrency is a fraud. Brian Brooks, last year, banks are allowed to custody your cryptocurrency now. What do you think they're doing? They're moving into a custody type environment. They're building the infrastructure so that they can hold your cryptocurrency and start feeing you, Warriors. This has been going on behind the scenes. As you've been told, cryptocurrency is a fraud. Why would the OCC allow federal banks, federally chartered banks, to custody cryptocurrency if it's a fraud?
Bitcoin and Ether, and it's because the banks are afraid of dealing in something that could ultimately be deemed to be a security or whatever, that they're then being the intermediator with something that's not registered. So that then ultimately all comes back to the Securities and Exchange Commission. And unfortunately, the SEC launched really the day before the past chairman left, a lawsuit against Ripple and XRP, claiming that XRP is a security. So that is a big concern going forward. Everything really comes down to what the SEC will do in the new administration, but then also what's going to happen with respect to some of those reforms that Brian Brooks had pushed through. There was a letter that was sent by some congressmen to Acting Controller Brooks right before he left, saying, "Put your pen down. We're going to undo everything in the new administration that you've done." So I think that's a warning sign, at least to the marketplace, that things may change. We'll see who becomes the new controller of the currency, but a lot hinges on that.
Okay, so he said, put your pen down. A lot of things are going to change, Warriors. But we have to understand that Gary Gensler, who's a professor at MIT for cryptocurrency, who understands regulations, who's been quoted talking about crypto regulation and understanding the infrastructure and the rails of where we're at. He said about in 2018, we're about 3 years out from adoption and growth. And now here we are 3 years, and now he's becoming the SEC, head of the SEC.
Hi, Paul. So you gave advice to President Trump right before he took office. Did you give him any advice on crypto? And what was his attitude in general towards digital assets? Did it affect what the regulators in his administration ultimately did? Did he provide them with any guidance whatsoever, or did he just let them do whatever they were going to do?
Well, my role wasn't really focused on the incoming president. It was really to help with the transition to try to identify policy steps that various financial services, regulatory agencies could put into effect and to kind of outline that for the incoming folks. And so we did focus, on digital assets and some of the policy issues around that. And I think you saw some of that come through in some of the agencies. Obviously, once somebody gets in, you never know what's going to happen as far as the policies that the person puts into effect. But I think it was very important what went on, as I mentioned, at the CFTC. And I'm really happy to say that Hester First has been doing a great job at the SEC articulating these various issues and trying to push them forward. So I'm very proud of her. I think she's doing a great job. And Lad Roisman also, I thought, did a very good job as well in this area. So we'll see what happens in the new regime here as people come aboard.
Well, you mentioned the SEC case against Ripple. What do you think is going to be the outcome of that, and what are the implications for the industry?
We'll see. I mean, the SEC obviously worked long and hard on that complaint that they filed in court. It's a well-drafted complaint. I think there are problems with it and fallacies in their argument, but ultimately.
He just said he's the former SEC commissioner. He just said there's problems and fallacies with it. Did you hear the same thing I just heard?
The courts will decide this, and I guess it's possible that an incoming chairman, looks like it'll be Gary Gensler. I guess he could withdraw the lawsuit, which has happened at some other agencies with the incoming administration with respect to other issues and other lawsuits. I don't know that that's likely to happen, but that's a possibility. But if not, the courts will adjudicate this issue. And ultimately, it may well go to the Supreme Court. And the one particular test that the SEC is relying on is an old Supreme Court case that goes back 50 years or so, the Howey decision that we all know with its test on as to whether an investment contract is a security or not. And so that could be re-examined in this new digital age where a lot of the issues around Howey obviously date back to an earlier time. So
I've been saying this for a long time, whereas the Ripple case is to bring in crypto regulation, to be the example. The Howey test is an old school test they're using to judge this XRP case or this Ripple case. And as he said, just like Dumb and Dumber, so you're saying there is a chance. So Gary Gensler's coming in. He got picked. He's the head of the SEC. We got the crypto friendly. I've been studying him nonstop. I went through the free MIT course on MIT. Whereas he's a beast. He's going to bring in crypto regulation. He's going to clear up all this noise. So now do you see what I'm talking about? If you know the game, you can't be played. You think it was by design that the old Jay Clayton just walked out right before he left. He's like, let me just throw. You don't think they're talking behind the scenes like you throw out a case. We'll bring Gary Gensler in. We'll throw in regulation. He's got all the experience. He understands what he's doing. We'll bring the public and private sector together. And what will happen is, as all these people start to FOMO in, we're all going to have our bags packed. And then as soon as all the public comes in, we're going to pull the target from underneath them, pull the rug out from underneath them. We're going to make a ton of money. There's going to be blood in the streets. We're going to buy back in. And then we're going to take about 3 years to build the whole infrastructure. And in 2025, you're going to move into the new quantum financial system. And there's going to be a brand new uncommon 1%. It's just like the web, the internet. As CryptoCito talks about it, this is a new Web 3.0. But if you know the game, you can't be played. But you got to understand the game, Warriors, because I'm telling you, I'm going to keep saying this. I don't want to be the person that's going to give you all this fuzziness that you're going to get rich in this space, because a lot of people are going to get wrecked because you don't know the game. Yes, people are going to get very rich in the next 6 months, but they're going to get just as poor very quickly by not having an exit strategy. You have to have a game plan, Warriors. You don't go into the Super Bowl by not practicing. You need to practice. You need to get disciplined. You need to show up to practice every single day. And if you become disciplined during this bull market, you could change your whole family's future in one summer. That's how critical this time is right now. That's the biggest shift in generational wealth. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. We just have a team of over 800 warriors working together to kick ass in the cryptocurrency space. Not a perfect program, but a very open and authentic program in helping people from a human level get that God's consciousness back, bring the money back to the people, and kick ass together. So everything's in the description down below. I love you guys very, very much. I know 2 videos pretty quickly, back to back like this, but this news had to come out to you guys. This stuff's exciting. Gives you purpose, makes you wake up every single morning, and drive your life forward. Warriors, rise. Let's go.